Good afternoon, everybody. We are back in the shop and we are going to finish getting this 1972 Chevy Suburban ready for the road. Alright, so we're sitting in my Suburban and there's a couple of issues that I want to address before I say this thing is ready for hot rod season. One is this right here. This is really annoying, and sometimes you get pinched by it. It's not good. So it's basically missing the wiper seals here, and then this seal here is pretty much gone. But I have all this stuff and I've had it for a while, and I think it's time to just get it installed. Secondly, and that's for all of them, they're all in the same condition. Secondly, this guy right here. For the road trip, this is our air-fuel ratio gauge. And it's a wideband O2 sensor that reads the air-fuel ratio. And for our road trip, we basically threw this thing on, and then I duct taped it right here, and it was constantly just like falling down and everything. But I want to get this thing permanently mounted, and I want to mount it right here, ideally. This empty spot. I'm not sure if it's possible, but we're going to give it a shot and see if we can do it. And then there might be another thing that I think of. I know there's more things. I mean, there's tons of things on this car that need to get done, but you know, you got to call it at some point and say it's good enough to just drive it. At this point, it is good enough to drive. We got the engine in it in the last episode. We got that all rebuilt. We resealed the transmission, so the transmission's not leaking anymore. The engine's not leaking anymore. The engine is basically fresh. And you know, there are plenty of other issues though. Like the gas tank is starting to seep, so like it's got a rust hole in the bottom of it or something. I don't know, but it's just barely seeping out at this point. So we need a new gas tank at some point. There's still a lot of rust repair that needs to be done, but I'm just saying, for now, we're just gonna get a few things done, and we're gonna drive this thing. It is time. So it's July 1st, in case you guys want to know. So lots of car shows going on. It's time to get this thing out on the road. So let's, I'm going to dive into the air-fuel ratio gauge first. I'm going to pop that thing out of here, and then I have another gauge set on the bench that we're going to take a look at and see if that thing's going to be able to fit in there. Alright, so I have this spare gauge set and bezel. This one's a little bit different than the one I have in the car because this one has a manual choke on it. But it's just one I've had laying around. I've tried to sell it a couple times, and there's a ton of these things out there. So if anybody's worried about me ruining something that's original, there are literally a ton of these things out here, and you can't even give them away. So eventually I'd like to get a like a Dakota Digital dash or something like that, something nice. But for now, we just need to mount this air-fuel ratio gauge. I got it out of the car here. We need to mount it somewhere. So here's that spot right there. I already pulled this little panel, and this is that spot with the spare gauge mount. So that actually does fit in there fairly well. That kind of does fit in there. If we, that would make it really easy if we did that. So it's also a matter of, oh yeah, and this actually has mode buttons and stuff. So I think that might be the way we do it. Basically just going to have to drill a couple holes through the plastic and through that metal sheet, and this thing will, I think it'll just bolt in there. But we're also going to have to cut spots for the plugs to go in. I think that's probably the way to go, because we're not going to, if we mount this back behind, which is not really a way to do it, I could take this apart and maybe get it back there. I don't know. I'm going to have to investigate this a little bit more, but I think that's going to be the easiest way, is basically just make that so that mounts right in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get the one that's in the car out, and we'll get to work on that. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys a quickie on the difference between these two bezels. This bezel is actually way nicer than this one. It's got a nice silver paint on it, but you can see the choke is over here, and on this one the wiper and washer is over here, and then your wiper, washer, and your lights are here on this one, and we have just lights over here. And that's not just the bezel. Those switches go in behind the piece of metal in the dash, so I can't really swap it over without doing some sort of wiring, because I don't think that that wiper switch, which is over here, will reach all the way over to here. So, and I don't want to do that anyways, because then I'll have this random choke hole. So we're going to stick with this one. So let's get this one out of the way. Alright, and now we're going to tear into this one, and we're going to get down, and basically we're just going to, it's going to be really simple. I thought I was going to go through a whole thing, but I got all that glue from the duct tape off of here, so we got that all cleaned up, so it's ready to go. And it's going to be really simple. We're just going to drill a couple holes, a few holes I guess, because we have wiring and the two studs right through this plastic here. There's not really many other options than that. I believe this piece of plastic is just one solid piece under here, so we're just going to go ahead and drill some holes in it, because otherwise we're just going to have to basically cut this chunk of plastic out of here so we can just go right into the metal, but same difference basically. So we're going to drill a few holes, we're going to get this thing mounted in here, and hopefully this is going to be easy peasy back in the truck and working. Yeah. I'm going to drill this one out too. Okay, so I think I have everything, or I do have everything ready to go. So we've got our gauge here with its two plugs in the back. We've got our holes big enough for those plugs to fit through. Plus we got the two mounting holes, and this thing slides right in here. I guess I could show you. Take those nuts off. Well, that's upside down. Okay, so it slides right in there like that. There's plenty of room on the back to put the nuts on. I've just been messing around in the car, or in the truck for a while, just getting some of the wiring under the dash cleaned up since we have this all out, and moving some stuff around. We got our gauge right here, our oil pressure gauge, and then this is where our wires are going to pass through right here. So I drilled a big hole, put a grommet on there. Our wires are going to pass through there, go into the plug. All this has to happen inside of the rig because the wiring is in there, and you can't put this all together and then plug it in. You have to basically put it through this guy, put it through this guy, put it through the gauges, then plug it in here, slam that home, put the nuts on the back of this, then you can tighten this down, and then put the whole thing in. So that's what we're going to do. We're inside the car. I'm going to set you guys up, and we're going to try and get this thing put together, or we are going to get this thing put together. We're going to try and do it as painlessly as possible. So let's do it. Alright, so we're in the truck, and believe it or not, this so we're in the truck, and believe it or not, this is cleaned up a lot from what it was. So some of these wires were actually running down over the steering column under here, and basically kind of making interference with the brake pedal and stuff. So I pulled them up here. They give you a lot of wire for this O2 sensor. So I went ahead and attached it, and then wound it up and attached it to the same wire that plugs into the back of the gauges. So this thing is ready. In order to take these gauges out, you have to drop this steering column brace that holds it up here. So it's a little bit of an ordeal. It's not that bad, but you do have to take a few things apart in order to get there, including the light switch, which, if you don't know, on top of the switch there's a little button, and you'll basically turn it and like pull it and push that button down, and then it'll just slide out. You just have to mess with it. I'm not sure what the exact combination of where the switch has to be and all that, but I do know that I got it out. So let's go ahead, and so the first thing, the wires have to pass through here. So let's go ahead and get both wires through here. Okay, so we got those two wires there. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and set that right there. Okay, and then we've got our gauges here, our gauge panel. So let's go ahead and set that like that. This is going to be tricky. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Alright, big plug has to go through this top hole. Oh man, this is going to be really tricky. Okay, try to get it up a little bit higher. Okay. So this guy's going to go through here. This guy, it's got to go through the bottom one. Okay. And then, don't want to hurt this oil pressure gauge, which that's a manual one, so you got to thread that guy in on the way back home. So we'll just set it like that for now. We'll put that up like that for a second. And then we got to plug this guy in. Click. And click. Okay. So we feed this in here. This is the first, and it fits fine. Okay, we're gonna fold this back down. Okay. You can't really see that, but the nuts are going on, and that's gonna be a pain to get that second one on the other side of the wires there. There we go. Get these nuts tightened down enough. Get those tight. And now, yep, those seem pretty even. Now we're going to slide this guy back in here, and we got to get the bolts. I left those on the bench. Okay. Okay. That part's done. Now, we plug this in first, or we do this line first? This line was a bit of a pain. Kind of gotta basically have it like that. Okay, got her going. I mean, I guess I could crawl under the dash once the gauge panel's in and get that on there, but I think that would be really difficult. Okay, so we got that guy. We're gonna plug this in here. Okay, and then the last thing to do is to get the speedo in there, but we can do that once it's mounted up in here. So it's that simple. Look at that. So you got 6 screws on this, I believe. Yeah, so you got 2 at the top, 2 on the lower end of the sides, and then you got 2 on the bottom here, right next to the steering column. So these guys, there's a special tool, apparently. I've never had one, but it's got those 2 little slots for a reason. So I pretty much always just do these things hand tight. And then your washer wiper, it's got a little tiny set screw in there, which you got to put. Huh, that's weird. So you got to tighten up your set screw on that one, and then this guy should just pop back in. Yep. Okay. So the rest of this is pretty straightforward. Not sure why I have this tape on there. So this guy goes in and holds up the steering column, and then you have to put this guy on there. That goes below that, and then this guy is like the trim piece. It goes across the bottom there. So it's a little bit of a process, but I'm gonna go ahead and get that done, and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay, so I'm trying to see if you guys can see that gauge. It's kind of hard through the steering wheel. Let's put this thing in neutral. Let's see. There we go. There you go. So it has to heat up first. I haven't started this thing since we rebuilt it and I drove it in here, so. There we go. Look at that. That's not bad. That's a good range to be in. I'm hoping that you guys can see this. About 12. There we go. Whoa, there we go. Well, why is it lean all of a sudden? That's a little bit lean for my liking. Might have to work on the idle circuit. Okay, it's not bad. Let me get you over here. That's a little lean on the idle there. 14, 13. Alright, so that project is done. Let me get you guys off of my head here. Something flew in here, I thought. Okay, so in the process, I knew I was going to find some more stuff to do. So, we still have to do these. We got that project done. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. But in the process of getting in and out of here, I knew this thing was coming off. It was starting to, the door seal here is starting to come off of here and didn't really want to stick. And I saw that this is starting to rust in here, so I need to get in here and clean this. But then it literally rained rust down on me when it came off. And this is really bad up here. So I need to get in here and I need to clean this. I was in here before, you know, the seal is newer, and I basically just wire wheeled it, hit it with some quick rust preventative stuff, but it wasn't very good, obviously, because it didn't last. I mean, that was probably 6 years ago, maybe longer even, maybe 8 years ago, I don't know. But I need to come back in here. We need to pull the door sill plate, get the seal off of there. We need to clean this whole thing up, and I'm going to hit it with the Pour 15, and then we're going to re-glue this seal on here. So I knew there was going to be more stuff. I just can't live with that. It's getting really bad, so it needs to be dealt with. So we're going to do that, and we're going to do these wiper seals and these window seals, and I guess we're just doing seals at this point. So it's really hot today. It's like the first real hot day we've had. It's over 90 degrees, or it's right around 90 degrees, and it's super humid. So I am sweating out here, but we're gonna keep on trucking, and we're gonna start working on that. I want to get that. I think we're gonna work on the door seals first, because that's gonna have to get painted, and that paint's gonna have to dry. So let's whip that off of there, break out the wire wheel, and clean this up, and get these door seals redone. Let's get to grinding here. It shouldn't take too long. We'll get the bulk of it with this guy, and then we'll get to something smaller to try and get in the corners. I need to get a blanket. I need a blanket to put over this stuff. I got a blanket there. So, you know, like 10 years ago when I got this thing, I replaced this outer rocker panel and the inner rocker panel. So I think it's up to, like to right here. Basically, they were both super rusty. So that's probably why that still looks pretty good, because it's not that old. But it was starting to rust in a couple spots right in here. It's just kind of lightly starting to rust, so. This is really unfortunate, but you know what? We're not really gonna do anything about it. We're gonna seal it and put the seal over it, because I just don't have time. So maybe in the future. Maybe. Yeah. Oh crud! I just ripped that one. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Yikes. Okay. So, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get all three of these doors done, and then I'll get back with you guys. Alright, we're cracking open the paint. Alright everybody, we're back at it. Went and sealed all this up. This one is pretty Swiss cheesy. It's not great. This one actually is in really good shape. Let me go hit the light over here. Yeah, this one actually is in the best shape. There's nothing really that's ate through. And then, like I showed you, on the other side, like right here, it's ate through this one layer right here. So it's not great, but now, you know, I cleaned it up as much as possible with the wire wheel, and we use this Pour 15, and this stuff it seems pretty great. Well, we're going to get a long-term test now that I have this done with the Pour 15, and we'll see how long it lasts, because I think I'm still years away from actually fixing all this and doing body work on this thing. So if that ever happens. So I wanted to show you guys a couple things. I went to the junkyard. I saw this video online, and it just so happened to pop up. It was this short video. I don't know if it was from YouTube or what, but it was a guy putting Honda Civic seals on a C10 pickup. So apparently 2011 to, or 2006 to 2011 Honda Civic two-door seals fit perfectly on a C10 pickup. And I think my front doors are the same as a C10 pickup. 99% sure. But I have that one third door that I have to worry about. So anyways, I actually went to the junkyard and I couldn't find, there were a couple of those cars there, but they both had the door seals stolen from it. So I'm guessing that people know that that's the case now. So I got 3 different ones, all Hondas, or well, one is an Acura, like a TL, but I took the Acura ones over to the Honda Civic that had the ones missing, and they looked like they were the same length. So they might fit perfectly, but I got some Acura ones, I got some Honda Accord ones, and I got some like Honda, I don't know, some small SUV, some Honda small SUV, not a CRV, but something newer than that. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to, because I imagine that this one is shorter, but I don't, honestly, people are saying, you know, the Honda Civic ones, they fit perfectly on the C10 pickup without cutting. I don't care if I have to cut it at the bottom and put it together. That's how the old ones were anyways. So we're going to see which ones fit. And so I actually got 3 sets here. So we're going to start just putting them in there and see which ones fit. And then we're going to move on to replacing the window, all the window seals, which are these guys right here, and then these guys here. Actually, I think this might be a separate deal. I don't think I have this, but I do have this weather stripping that goes in here, and I guess you just cut it at the corners. I don't know yet. So I have a bunch of this weather stripping. I have I'll show you guys. So I've had this stuff for a while. So right here, upper door glass run channel and super seal. I don't know. I got this from a Counterpart Automotive. I got this from a local guy in Vancouver when I lived in Vancouver. Same with this right here. These are all the wipers or whatever you call them that hold the glass. So that's one of the big complaints about this truck, is when you, and see, this one's really in terrible shape, so I guess I think that's a separate part that I need to get. But you know, especially when the window's rolled down, you get a lot of this, which is no good. So I hope I have all the parts for this, because like the wind will be down and you'll go to slam the door, and then this thing will like pinch you or something, and it makes noise, and it's just not good. So we're going to try and get this stuff replaced today as well. But let's work on these seals first. Alright, so I wanted to mention real quick here, the difference between the Suburban door and a regular C10 pickup door is that corner right there up at the top. On a C10 pickup, it's rounded. On this door, obviously, it's square. Alright, one thing I did notice when I was looking for these is you want one that has a corner. Some of them I got don't have this corner in here, and we'll make that work regardless, but this is going to probably be the best one. Like I said, if you get, apparently to the internet, according to the internet, if you get 2006, 2011 two-door Honda Civic ones, they fit in here with no cutting. So I actually had to add a piece in here, right here. It's about little over a foot, but the doors still fit back on there. I ended up taking my seatbelt out, so I got that cleaned up, lubed up, so that it comes in and out good, which is nice. And then put that back on. Eventually I'm going to get to the seat. I know you guys are probably staring at the seat and be like, oh, that thing is terrible. It is terrible. But I'm going to get to that eventually. But for now, we got door seals. Oh yeah, it's a good solid fit for sure. That's definitely sealing. These things aren't perfect, you know. The ones, they do fit over here nicely and they seem like they're gonna stay. The ones that you get aftermarket, you have to glue, and in my experience, they don't work that great. They do have this weird little lip on them, you know, and it kind of doesn't really match up. You could go through with like a razor blade, I guess, and just trim that little excess lip. It all depends on how far you want to go with it, what you're looking for. Right now, I'm just looking for a temporary fix that works, and this definitely works. So, yeah. Seat that in, and I'm happy with that. So, I am going to just finish up with the other side, and then we're going to move on to those windows, the window seals and moldings and stuff. Alright, so we got our other two door seals done. You can see that turned out really good. This one is an original door sill plate, and it is less rusty than the front two, which were aftermarket ones that I bought a few years ago when I redid everything. Why is this door hanging up so much? I guess I'll figure that out when I get over here. Oh, it's just rust. I need to get in there and lube some stuff up, I guess. I don't know. But door seals turned out really nice. Worked out pretty good. This back one I just ended up cutting it to make these corners, these two corners, and then actually that's it. This lower piece is one solid piece. It could have been one solid piece the whole way, but these corners, like, you just jam them in there and it got out of shape, so I figured it would just be better to just cut that piece out. So we got rust falling out of the doors. Man, rust. I hate rust. Okay. So now that that is done, we're just gonna move on to cleaning these out. I already got these, I just pulled these two seals out of here, and then I think I have to actually just take, I don't know, I honestly don't know how to do this for sure. These, like, this doesn't want to come out, so I'm thinking I'm going to pull, I want to pull the door panel to get the vacuum in there. I pulled the speaker actually when I was doing this, and because I had my speakers shorting out, and they had a bunch of crap on the back of them, you know, stuck to the magnets and stuff, so I cleaned those up. But I think I'm going to go ahead and pull this door panel off for this first one at least, and because this doesn't really want to come out of here with the window in the way, so I think you gotta do it a different way. So I'm gonna start pulling this apart, and I'm gonna figure out how to go about replacing all these. This seems pretty simple, you know, just cut a piece to fit in there, slide it in there. Same with this, and then this is going to be way easier to get in if I actually take the door panel off as well. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to get this door panel off of here, which I hate doing because you're always running the risk of, like, breaking the clips, whatever clips are left in this thing, because it's been off, you know, who knows how many times. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get these door panels off here and get to this job. All right, everybody. Alright, so we're all done with these door seals. They came out really nice. We got new wipers. We got new felts on the inside. We got new channel here, top and side. We don't have these felt parts here, which they do need to be replaced pretty much on all the windows, but it's a massive improvement. When they actually roll up, they really do seal. They get in there real good, and then when they're down, you can see now we don't have this big slop where it's gonna pinch your skin when you slam the door. So super happy with that. I just finished timing this thing. I had the timing pretty far advanced, so I ended up retarding it quite a bit. That seems to be where it wants it, and this thing is ready. That's all I'm going to do to this thing. Let's hope that this thing holds together for the rest of the year. That's my plan anyways, hopefully. And I don't really plan on doing too much to it at this point. I think, I mean, I'd like to do a lot more. I need to get on this rust repair, but that's kind of more of like a winter job. But for now, this thing is done, and I am super happy with it. The engine looks really nice. It's not leaking. I'm stoked. So actually tomorrow we're going to be taking this thing to the Southeast Chevy GMC Truck Nationals. We're not actually going to enter the truck in the show, but we are planning on driving it there. So I'm excited about that. That should be fun. But that's it for this episode. That's it for the C10, hopefully for a while, unless something goes wrong. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please smash that like button for me. Hit the subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to get notified of future videos coming out from DJ's Hot Rod and Fab. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.